We really do need to clean your glass in, don't we, Shelley Wellies? Yes. Oh, well, let's let the adverts finish. Fruity. Sunday shop do 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 do. Sunday shop do 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 do. Sunday shop do 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 do. Ah. Ah. No, that was a weird noise. That didn't work. Hello, 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 hello. Greetings. Salutation. Etc. Etc. Howdy, Mal. Likes for bikes. Sounds a good scheme to me. Hope all is well with you. And Sammy Boy. The Squat King. And Quirky's here as well. Failing in a job as a warden. I think it's safely say. Ironic because I was up near a prison today, so yeah. They didn't just come and grab me and bring me in. Ooh, let the dogs out. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Yeah. Yes, we're all a bunch of escapees, although probably not from prison. Let's be honest, we're probably all more likely to have escaped from a mental hospital, or whatever they're called these days. I can never keep up to date with what the current terms are. I still call it a nut house. It's been a long while since I was in one of those. Well, not voluntarily anyway. So, hope everyone has had a wonderful week. Nothing teabag has happened. At least in the UK, the weather is improving. The Eye of Sauron is going away. The clouds are coming in. The rain is coming. Yay! So yes, busy week at work this week. So I've got up to even less than I normally do in a week. We had the higher ups from head office visiting, so we had to do all the make sure we do everything properly and make sure everything's spick and span and clean and tidy and there's no skid marks in the toilet, that kind of thing. It's bad when you get in the broom and sweeping the car park to make it look nicer. But yeah, insane asylum, mental hospital, nut house, cracker factory. All those things. It doesn't matter what you say as long as someone knows what you mean. So people get upset when I use words like mental or nutter or crazy. I'm like, well, I use them to describe myself, so it's okay. Yeah, there's going to be crackly sounds because there's a big print on the back of his t-shirt, and it's rather old, so it's a bit flaky. Yes. The classic Pearl Jam t-shirt from 90. It's that faded. I can't actually read the date on it. Probably 93 or 94. Yeah, so work, water changes, no new fishies either born or bought this week. The rammies are doing well in their quarantine. They're just doing ram things. That's kind of about it. I went for a bike ride on Thursday. Not a long one. It's a short 15 miles. So basically, I just went and got breakfast and sat in a meadow by an abbey next to a river. Then filmed a video or two. And And I even remembered to upload a video this week, which was mainly to go, new fish, but I thought I'd make it a bit about quarantining, so there was something at least slightly educational there. Excuse me. I've got chocolate on my face, probably. So yeah, it really doesn't take me long to go through what I've been up to in a week. But never mind. Because I live a fairly dull and sedate life and don't tend to do much. And then tomorrow is water change day again, so yay, back, complete the circle. That reminds me, I've got to get in touch with Andrew about booking holidays and things. Because you know how it is, you get someone visiting, you want to make sure the place is clean and tidy. So, need at least a couple of days warning. Yeah. So again, it's one of those where I've decided to go live because I do on a Friday or Sunday at this time. So I'm even getting my days mixed up. I've not really got a huge amount to talk about, if anything. Sometimes I wonder why I do it. But I have just had a really sneaky good idea. For every like, I will bike 1 mile this week. How's that sound? So the more likes we get, the more miles I cycle. Hola, fish fan bot. So long as we don't get 100 people turning up and leaving likes. Yeah, we'll see what the thumbs ups are. Oh dear. See what the thumbs uppy thing is at the end of the stream, and then I'll try and cycle that far this week. So if everyone could start hitting the thumbs down, that'd be great. I really should keep the exercise up for as long as I can, while the weather is still allowing it. I know I could cycle all year round and it would be fine with the right clothing, but you know, when it's peeing down the rain and blowing a hoolie, it's not fun. I know you can wear windproof and waterproof clothing and it will be, yeah, you'll still get wet. Don't care how high-tech and breathable something is, if you're sweating your butt off, you will still get wet from the inside out. Because those clothes are designed for people who are walking or hiking, which is the posh name for walking. That doesn't build up too much of a sweat, really. Unless it's stupidly hot, in which case you're better off cycling because you get more breeze. But yes. Yeah, so today Mary and I went for a walk. A nice little segue there. We wandered around Wayland Woods, otherwise known as the Wailing Woods, which is where the story of the babes in the wood comes from. Actually, that wood. Very pretty place, lots of birdies, squizzles, deeries. Didn't see any stoats or badgers or anything, but had an encounter with a baby roe deer, which was lovely to see. And the usual squirrels just zooming across the path and disappearing up a tree or hearing them running around in the trees above. But again, that's another one of the ancient woodlands. So there's a small pocket of it left, which is now protected, surrounded by farmland, obviously. As everything around here is. Well, farmland and a prison, but kind of feels a bit silly to build a prison next to a wood. Easy for people to hide, although there is CCTV around there, so that probably does help with that regard. And it's not a high security prison anyway, so it's not where they're keeping the likes of serial killers or anything like that. It's speeders and tax dodgers and things like that. So people who got caught with a bit of weed or something like that. Low-level offenders. So yes, not a problem. And it's still far enough away that it's they're not going to come here if they do escape. Ooh, ow, itchy leg. It's where all them stones that were flicking up off the front wheel when I was riding the Marriott Stray the other week, while they all bounced off my legs and took chunks out. So, yay. Mental note, next time riding a long gravelly section, wear long socks. Protect your legs a bit. Don't wear short little ankle socks because, well, it's going to be cooler. Yes. And this is rather hard to carry on a conversation with myself. So let's see if we can think of a story. Looney Tunes, yes. I think that was the Looney Tunes tune, wasn't it? It was one of them. It was what was the other one? It was Looney Tunes, and who was the other company that did those kind of 5-minute cartoons? Oh, like the DC and Marvel of the day. Except neither were crap. Yeah, that's. Marvel started out good and then it went downhill, and DC started out pants and apparently getting better. Evening, Jeff. How are you doing, sir? Good to see you. Seahorse. I think we should change your Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So the answers to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything should be seahorse rather than 42. So it makes even less sense. But it also ties in with dolphins and so long and thanks for all the fish. Or the whale just randomly fall into, I was going to say Earth, but it's not planet Earth, is it? Whichever planet it was. I mean, I'm not saying Douglas Adams took any kind of psychedelics at any point, but I've got a funny feeling he may have done. Yeah. Oh, come on, rain. Get that temperature down a bit so I can sleep better. I'm assuming everyone has the same issue I do, where when it gets hot, you struggle to sleep. I'm just assuming that the temperature for me is lower than for most people, because if it's above about 20 degrees, I really struggle to sleep. 20 degrees UK temperature, not American, obviously. Because if it was minus, well, if it was 20 degrees, which is 12 degrees below freezing, even I would have the back door shut. I mean, that one, not that one. Yeah, I never understood why people have heating in the bedroom. Oh no, it has to be lovely and warm. You're getting into bed, you got a honking great duvet on you. You don't need heating to stay warm in bed. You you get warm by snuggling under the covers and hunkering down and, yeah, just being in bed, rather than, needing the heating on. And then, yeah, I don't get it. We'll put the heating on, then we won't have to put the thick duvet on. You own the thick duvet. Putting that on costs nothing. Putting the heating on costs money. It's the same with people who go, oh, it's getting a bit chilly, I'll put the heating on, rather than like put on a jumper or sweater or socks, or stick a blanket over their knees when they're sitting in the armchair watching TV. Seems like we're not allowed to be at all uncomfortable at any point these days. There's always something we can do to improve our comfort and make us warmer, usually, which normally makes me less comfortable. Uh, when you go to like a party in winter time or whatever, and you end up spending most of the time outside, so you're not too hot. And it's, oh, why are you always outside? It's because it's too bloody hot in there. You got it set to summer temperatures. That's 3 stories. Hate the heating. Top 25 mil, 20 garage, 15. I'm getting a hammock for the garage. Yeah, I would. Yeah, camp bed, hammock, whatever. It's warmer weather. I sleep downstairs because it is that few degrees cooler. Um, and if I tamed the wilds of my back garden, I'd probably just set up a tarp and sleep outside. Because, yeah, once the sun comes up, I'm awake, which is a pig in the summer when it's getting light at 4:30 in the morning. You're waking up and you're going, oh, it must be time to get up. Oh, get up, come downstairs, look at the clock and go, oh, it's not even 5 o'clock yet. I haven't got to be at work for like 9 hours. Why am I awake? Yeah, it's cooling down here nicely. It's barely 20 today, so yay. It's gradually cooling down as the week has gone on. The humidity was going up, but 66 years probably around about, yeah, probably around about the same temperature. It must have got cold because people started to wear coats and jumpers and things already. give it another month, now we're getting the weird looks like, why are you still wearing shorts and a t-shirt? And get the first slightly chilly night, and everyone breaks out the winter coats and gloves and scarves and ear warmers and woolly hats. And where's me still wandering around in shorts and t-shirt? And getting home and removing shorts and t-shirt because it's too hot. Yeah. Grr. Ooh, we've got some interesting new algae growing. That looks like it might be. Looks like we've got some cyanobacteria growing on the glass in the shelly tank. Well, water change today, tomorrow, so I shall scrape that off with a razor blade. And then suck it out. It's kind of strange that with half the amount of shellies in there, that the algae's growing more. So we got a lot less nitrate and we got a lot more algae growing. Very strange. I don't know. Got a frog in the throat. That's better. Odd hand number. Yeah, it's almost like the nitrates get too high and then the algae doesn't grow. It comes back down again and it goes, ooh. But then that is the only display tank I have that does get algae in it, because it's the only one that's not planted. For the simple reason that it's shell dwellers. They'll dig everything up. Nature, the mystery of our time, all time. If we fully understood nature and how it worked, then the planet and us would be a lot better off. Not necessarily financially, but I think I must have walked into a stinging nettle. Somewhere in the wild woods with the baby ghosts. Yeah, about the scariest thing we did encounter in the woods was stinging nettles. I don't think there's anyone who's scared of squirrels or baby deer, little Bambis. It's always good to see. Anytime you get to see wildlife is always a good thing. I'm gonna have to get myself down by a river at some point, just to watch some fishies in the water. If nothing else, just watch some little fisheries in the wild, doing wild fishy things. It does the soul good. Just get that. Well, they call it touching grass these days, don't they? But I think that quite covers it. You want to be getting out away from humans and buildings and into how nature is, and just spend time there and chill and just be. Just go with the flow and realize that life doesn't have to be lived at 100 miles an hour. It can be lived at 5 quite happily. It's a lot of the things we have these days that, we have to do this, we have to do that, I've got to do this, got to do that. Yeah, we don't need to. We do them because we're expected to, or people think we should do, but Slowly and steady wins the day. It does. And why do today what you can put off until tomorrow? Well, the reason for that one's fairly obvious, because otherwise you get to the end of the week and you go, oh crap, I really need to do all this stuff. Hence, yesterday I couldn't really be bothered to go shopping in the evening because I had plenty of other sort of jobs I needed to do around the house and just work the clothes again. So that means now that tomorrow I've got to go shopping, in addition to doing all the water changes and anything else that might need doing, laundry. And it's not just one shop, I've got to go to both supermarkets because I'm out of that and they don't sell drinkable energy drinks in the cheaper supermarket, Lidl. And Lidl Coke is pretty nasty as well. So we go to Sainsbury's to get Coke and energy drink, and then go to Lidl to get food and other supplies. And then do all the water changes. Yay. Then go back to work here. I'll own the laundry and then go back to work. It should be a relatively quiet week this week at work. So Tuesday, so yeah, I'll have to do Wednesday delivery, but then yeah, it'll be good. Great news, sold a bunch of African chiclets and some molly wollies. Bonus. That's a fishy person or to a local store, Jeff? Did you finally talk the store into giving you some money for fishies? Or did you? And then the question is, what are you going to put in those tanks? Oh, from the online store. Ooh. Ooh. You're a proper entrepreneur now, Jeff. It's always good. On Get Gills. Very cool. So look at these. Let's Get Gills, and what's the other one? Oh, there's another one as well. Can't remember what it's called. And I did think about setting up an online store. Dan's Fish, that was the one. I did think about doing that, set up an online store and blah, blah, blah. But the amount of people who don't realise I'm actually English and in England already, I'll get a comment on a video, like, oh, do you sell fish? Yes. Oh, I'd love some of your plecos or whatever. Okay, which state are you in? I'm not. Can you not tell from this accent that I am not American? It's probably people that think that YouTube is just for America. They don't realise it's worldwide. And if you select a different language, you get a whole lot of different stuff turn up. There are famous YouTubers that don't speak a word of English. Well, they probably know the swear words, but that's the same with most languages. That blows people's minds. They're like, what? Yeah. That's why they make so much money. Well, Google, that is, not the creators. I have no idea how many views and subs and members and whatever you got to have on YouTube to actually make a living from it. Even the ones that you'd think are successful don't necessarily make a living. They've probably got other things they do as well. So clearing 2 tanks, 75, a 40 breeder, Sweet. Howdy, Stillwater. Mow, mow, mow the grass, hopefully it don't rain. You'll have to share tips with Tampa Tom, the Mad Mower. So yeah, so 300 and 100. So yeah. So I've kind of got the US UK conversion for gallons at least in my head. So 40 breeder. Yeah, the 75 for Shelley's. Well, if you've already had African cichlids in it, it's going to be a sand substrate, isn't it? So it's going to be sand and probably rocks, I'm guessing. So yeah, Shelley's would go absolutely nuts. Although what you could do in a 75 is, because it's big enough, Shelley's will destroy Java moss, don't worry about that. What you could do is something like 75 is go with Shelley's for the bottom, because generally they do stay quite low down. I think it's only mine that are crazy and go right at the top of the tank all the time. But yeah, if you did some Shelley's and some either Julidochromis or what's the other one, Brichardi cichlids. If he's built up some rock work either at the back or in one side or something, then you could have both flavours in there. And Brichardi's are very pretty as well. Cyprichromis, that's the one. Yeah, I'd be very tempted to go Shelley's and Brichardi's. That'd be a very, very pretty tank. And endlessly entertaining, and probably with lots of fry in it all the time. You'd have to have lots of fry food ready. Oh, pardon me. Which is literally just normal food. You just crush it up to powder, basically. They might not. If you've got enough water, because the 75 is fairly deep. Brichardi's and Shelley's do get on quite well, because the Shelley's will chase off the Brichardi's if they get too close. I got a 15 with Shelley's, literally right here, and yeah. And yeah, I say it all depends on what flavour of Shelley's you go for as well. You might find with the smaller ones like the Maltese and the Similis that the Brichardi's might predate a bit more, or Cyprichromis, whichever one you go. But something like the blue or the gold ocellatus, you may well find it goes the other way around when the Ockies start going for the Brichardi. The Ockies are rather aggressive. Yeah, you got the Maltese, I've got the Simmies, so Maltese in the 40. Yeah, Maltese will do well in a 40. The same. Just remember when you buy your shells, don't buy cichlid shells off of Amazon or even from a fish store. Go to Amazon and just look up escargot shells in the food section, and you'll probably get a box of 50 for the same price half a dozen would cost you in the fish section. You got them in a 10, so yeah, makes sense if you move the multis over to the 40. You've got room to spread and grow the population. And multis are a big seller. People always want shell dwellers. A lot of Anubias in the Shelly tanks, and they go great. Yeah, so if you've got something tall enough that you can attach the Anubias to, I guess it would probably, yeah. But anything that roots, Shellys will just dig it up. Not because they're being buttholes and digging up plants because they can just dig up plants. It's just because it's what they do. They rescape the tank every day. You go to bed one night, you wake up the next morning, you look at the tank and it's completely different. Multi sell for $17 Canadian. Ooh. So multis here sell for about a fiver, £5. And the simmies are normally a bit more expensive, normally $7.50 to $10. Mostly because multis is just more common. I'm sure a lot of people who have multis have actually got simmies and they just don't realise it because they do look almost identical. Yeah, I mean, again, it's supply and demand. If you've got a big supply, the price drops. If you've not got the demand to meet the supply, the price drops further. If you've not got enough supply to meet the demand, the price goes up. Which is why I get 3 times for a super red bristlenose what I get for a common bristlenose. It's like they're no harder to breed, they're no harder to grow out. It's just common bristlenoses are more common. And people only tend to buy one, they don't tend to buy 2. And if they do breed, then they tend to panic and maybe have a few survive. Whereas Muggins here has got it down to a fine art and gets like 95 to 100% survival rate. Killed the CPD market, produced thousands, and they dropped $3. Yeah, this is it. And I'm sure that's what fancy guppy breeders are trying to do. Is, oh, this one is different. This is more expensive. No, it's still a guppy. It's still £3 on a good day. I was actually in an LFS when someone did try that. They had $4 each for black mollies. Wow, that was a good price. I won't tell you what I'd sell them at. I'd be lucky to get 50 pence for a molly. And that's why I don't breed mollies and guppies and platties. As much as mollies are cool, guppies, yeah, guppies are okay. Platties are awesome. The Limia, because they're that much rarer and shops don't stock them, I get £1 each. It doesn't sound much, but it's double at least what I'd get for any other common live bearer. And they're live bearers, they're not exactly hard work. Pardon me. You just put them in a tank and add water and food, and they multiply to alarming numbers, as you can see. Oh God. Oh, let's have a look. The camera cable's done its usual thing of wrapping itself up in a ball again. I could easily untwist it by unraveling things, but yeah, it's just linear for days. Pretty much no matter where I point the camera, there's going to be linear. Oh, Corey. Linear. Linear. Happy Cara. Little nose. But yeah, there's literally a cloud of linears in there. Hey. Let's see if we can find one of the boys. Oh, here he is. That's one of the males with his yellow fin, yellow belly, and black dorsal. And then the algae fest, currently, that is the Shelly tank. And yes, it does look a little empty, but there are a whole bunch of beddies in there as well. And will the camera, will it show? Just about see one of the I've got a couple of them. There we go. Bolivian rams. So goodeids, whether they be limias or whichever other flavour, are a good bet to go for. Yeah. Actually, that looks relatively straight like that, doesn't it? So we'll leave it. Yeah, I'll say that's it. It depends on what the people around your area are buying. And I get that's why guppies and platies and mollies are so popular. Guppies and platies in particular because they're brightly coloured and they're friendly little fishies. And because they're available in the million, they're dirt cheap. Whereas, as I say, there are far fewer people that keep and breed goodeids and that kind of thing, that they're rarer, so they do command a higher price when they do sell. And the people who are going to buy a limia aren't necessarily the same people who would buy a guppy. There's people who go, oh, no, they're interesting, they're different. Molly's jet black. Yeah, so mine were platinum whites, long fin platinum whites, and yeah, still got 50p a fish. I think the only thing I'd buy mollies for now would be if I set up a saltwater tank, just to get the cycle going. German blue rams do put out quite a few, as they're always popular. They are grow monster blue rams. Yeah, German the blue rams, Ramirezi, as it were. Yeah, they are always popular because they're small, brightly coloured, pretty. Problem being they really don't like the water around here, so that's why I've not gone with GBRs this time, because I've tried them before and then they live about 3 months before they either get pop eye or bloat and just keel over. So hopefully the Bolivians, which are a bit hardier, will do okay. If you go full retard to get more tanks, then you'll have more work to do, Jeff. This is the thing with multi-tank syndrome, multi-tank addiction, whatever you want to call it. You always go, oh, cool, new fish, I've not had that before. Oh, it can't go with anything else I've already got, so I'll need another tank. Okay, that's great. Yeah, I'll get another tank. And you keep doing that, and you keep doing that. And how many times do we see people who have done that and they've got hundreds of tanks? Maybe not literally, but metaphorically, usually. And then they start having problems with the tanks because they're not able to pay enough attention to them. They're getting behind on the water changes, the filter cleaning, that kind of thing. And then they gradually have to cut back on the amount of tanks they've got because they just can't really cope with how many they do have. That was one of the problems with the whole COVID lockdown thing, is a lot of people bought fish tanks. A lot of people bought more fish tanks because they had the time. They were not working and could spend the time doing their fish tanky stuff. When everything opened back up again, they got to go back to work and blah 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 blah. You can't keep up with it, and that's partly why I've not got more tanks. Sure, I could easily get rid of that coffee table, move that DVD shelf and put another tank in there, or another couple, and that would be the perfect place for a Megaflex. But A, cost, and B, do I really want to be doing more water changes every week? What would I put in it? Well, it'd be something that would breed, because that's one of the big reasons I do fish tanks. Then I'm going to need more fry tanks to put whatever I breed in the new tanks. So, and the electric bills keep going up and up and up lately. Well, finally they seem to have plateaued and starting to come down in the UK, thankfully. Yeah. So yeah, it just time and cost. It's like when the electric prices first started going up, all the people who've got hot tubs in lockdown, because, well, we can't go out, but we can go sit in a hot tub in the garden, and that'd be wonderful. And it was. So they started getting the electric bills in, because as fish keepers, we know how much it costs to heat X amount of gallons of water. And when you're talking a hot tub that is outside, it costs a lot. Plus the actual cost of the water and the chemicals to treat the water and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, they started realizing their hot tubs were costing them a lot to run. And much like with the fish tanks and the pet shelters, then yeah, they all went up for sale. So shortly after lockdown, maybe 2021, 2022, there were a heap of fish tanks and hot tubs for sale. And all the pet shelters were full because all the lockdown pets that no longer had, owners that could look after them anymore because they weren't at home all the time. Yeah, lots of dogs, cats, and rabbits especially ended up in shelters. Yep, there we go. I think we'll carry that on, actually, a mile alike. So the more likes we get on the live streams, the more miles I'll cycle that week. And if we bear in mind that me cycling to work and back every day is a grand total of 4.5 miles, half a mile, I think I can manage that on top of what I'd normally have to do for work. So yeah, let's see if we can get that number up a bit, because a half a mile bike ride is literally around the block, as it were. So, yeah, yeah, it's half a mile to the other end of town. So yeah, 6. Well, it's like a mile and a half. So that's like one loop around the town centre and back home, which will take, depending on when I do it, that's a mile and a half. Pardon me, about 5 minutes. Probably take me longer to get dressed, get the bike out, and then get home, put the bike back, than it would to ride it. So yeah, we shall see what that number climbs to. Spread the word. Like Sharpe's live stream, and he'll cycle a mile. Well, as I say, the first 4.5 miles, I just go into work and back 4 times a week. Yeah, such a long commute. Is it? Hang on. No, it's actually 9 miles a week I cycle to and from work. So next is 2.25 mile there and back. Despite what Google Maps thinks, because Google Maps thinks it's far further than that. But Google Maps doesn't know about the little alleyway that I cut through, which cuts about half a mile off each way, minimum. And also, I'm not scared to cycle on main roads. Although a main road around here is just something that's got 2 lanes. And I don't mean 2 lanes each direction. I mean 1 lane each direction. That's a main road around here. There is literally only 2 roads in sensible cycling distance that are 2 lanes each way in the county. Oh, prepare the face, can start doing his teabag squats. You ready? Are you ready, Sam? Because I'm going to blow smoke up your ass. Although I look up and, hello, Spider. You'll make some very good fish food later. Yeah, spiders have 2 fates. Either they run out in front of me and they're the big black ones and they get stomped, or they're the smaller ones that sit on the wall and then I catch them and throw them in a fish tank. And that one is about snack size. Yeah, that would disappear in one splush from a. That more like it. Well, it's only gay if it touches the sides. Oh, that's grim. Oh dear. No, I'm not going down that line of thought. No, we're not thinking about Gandalf's sleeve. Oh. Yeah. So, what was that? Fishies. Yeah, that's saying multiple tank syndrome. Only go if the balls touch. I was like, yeah, so yeah, it's very easy to get too many tanks and then not be able to either not be able to or not want to be able to keep up on the maintenance and even the feeding some days. I mean, if you're particularly busy and you've got a particularly busy life, then feeding one tank, that's easy enough. It's just chuck a bit of food in as you go by. Feeding multiple tanks and different foods and different amounts, and it can take a while. I mean, not a huge amount of time, 10, maybe 15 minutes, but if you're really busy, that's 10, 15 minutes out of the day. And like all animals, they like to be fed at the same time every day. We've all done it. We've all had a furry friend, and we've been late with their dinner, and they soon let you know they're upset. I mean, dogs will bring you their empty bowl and just look at you. Cats will poop in your shoes if you're late with their dinner. And rabbits will, well, they'll either stomp and keep thumping until you bring them their food, and then what they'll do is that you won't get the fussy end, you'll get the smelly end. You get them out, give them, and I'll sit there and I just purposefully point their back end at you. It's like, no, I'm not looking at you. 15 minutes for your tanks. Yeah, that's all. I mean, I've probably got it down to a routine of probably 5 minutes now if I really want to do it quick. But yeah, cat walks up and claws your leg if you miss it. Yeah, exactly. Fish can't do that, but they get used to being fed at a certain time, so I always try to do it at a similar time. Too old to move quick anymore. Yeah, I don't move fast. I refuse to run these days. My days of, oh, the bus is here at 10 past. It takes me 5 minutes to walk to the stop. I will leave 5 minutes before the bus gets there. Now I'll go, oh, the bus is at 10 past. It takes me 5 minutes to walk there. I'll best leave home at 10 to. I'd rather stand there at the bus stop for 15 minutes than have to rush. Or miss it and have to wait another half an hour for the next bus. Or train or whatever. I just use bus because that's what I tend to use more regularly than trains. Although of late it's been more trains, I think. It's like this year I've been on the train more than I've been on a bus. That's got to be a first. Have I even been on the bus this year? Just trying to think. I don't think. Maybe once. I think maybe once I might have gone up to Norwich for something this year on the bus. I got a feeling it was some kind of, not convention, but like show type thing that I was kind of interested in going to, and then it just turned out to be absolutely pants. So I was there for like 5 minutes and turned around and walked out again. Who was it? Yeah, I think it was some sort of sci-fi TV show thingy. Like, meet the cast, and it's people you've never heard of from shows you've never watched. And like really bad models and die casts of things that you look at and you go, Really? You want actual money for that? Oh, YouTube.com. The site has been updated in the background. Oh, and George Farmer has been doing a planted cichlid tank. Oh boy, that could be funny. Let's say it's still the most famous YouTuber I've actually met face to face, or most famous fishy person I've met face to face. I've met more famous people than that, but not YouTubery, I don't think. Hmm. There's probably like actors and things like that, and musicians that I've met over the years that are probably more famous. Doing research on Kowloon, the walled city in China, is super interesting. It is a very interesting place with a long and storied history. But yeah, George is quite famous. Let you in on a bit of a secret. He's also quite boring and a bit of a bell end. Um, I don't know if the video is up on his page or the Tropica page, but um, because when I went to see him, it was actually where I met Kay Halliday, who also does the odd video, and he wanted some help because he was demonstrating how to do a planted tank. Oh, well, be quite fun to go and see. And yeah, my hands appear in the video because I was the one there sorting out the plants for him. He's like, I haven't got the plants ready. Does anyone here have experience with planted tanks? Yeah, I do, George. Oh, would you mind awfully? I kind of need something to, because obviously they're all in the rock wall and bunched up. And would you mind? Oh, yeah, sure, not a problem. Okay, it means I don't get to see the front of the tank as you're filling it up with plants, but I know what a planted tank looks like. I was just hoping to pick up some tips or some interesting tidbits, or maybe from free swag or something. In the end, I did get some free plants out of it. Um, Mostly, yes, I think it was mostly Crypt Wendetii, which I already had a bunch of. Some Anubias, maybe some Java Fern. But by the time I got home in the middle of summer, they were all completely dead. Yeah, they didn't do well in my rucksack at 30 degrees. Do I have a fave UK fish tuber? Good question. See, now I tend not to watch things like fishy channels for the content, more the personality of the person doing it. So for me, it would be Graham and Andrew. Um, that'd be Aquarium Daily and Aquarium Adventures. Uh, Tommy. Yeah, I'll say it's when I started on my fish keeping journey, I was greedily devouring all the informations I could from all the various different peoples. And then you get to a point where you think, I'm not pork pie exactly. I'm not saying I know everything or I'm some kind of fish keeping guru, because I'm not. Again, to steal from Michael's fish room, I'm just some dumb guy with a camera. Um, with an amazingly shaped head. Uh, also on the weight loss. But yeah, there we go. So now, other than to support people that I class as friends, like people in the chat and others, I tend not to watch a huge amount of aquarium content these days. If like there's a new species or new to me that I've not kept, so I've watched a few videos on Bolivian rams. I mean, I'm not going to say I did my research before I got them. I didn't do any research before I got them. In essence, I know what rams are. I know that Bolivian rams aren't as delicate as German blue rams. Then, so I knew the personality, the kind of water and tanks they liked, and how they breed, and all this kind of stuff. I didn't necessarily know all the intricate ins and outs. But so then when I'm researching a fish, I don't watch one video and go, oh, I know what I need to know. I'll watch several videos because different people will have different ways of doing things and different points of view, and what works for one might not work for another. So you then sort of put it all together in one big smushy thing and take out of it what works for you. So yeah, that's generally the way I go. I do find myself watching a lot more crap on YouTube lately. I mean, I say crap, it's not crap. It's personality based, or personality and voice based from the presenter, whoever's, or the creator. It's probably the better term. So if someone's got a good voice, speaks at a decent speed, isn't monotone, throws in the occasional joke, doesn't take themselves too seriously, actually sounds like they're interested in what they're talking about, then I'm more likely to watch them. Lowell's Fish Lab does some great breeding videos. I shall have to try and remember that one. One I do enjoy, doesn't put out many videos, is The Dave. And some very, very in-depth. And if you watch a couple of his videos, you'll know why he doesn't put too many out, because there's a lot of work gone into them. It's not like me, grab a camera, point it at a tank and start talking. It's all like researched and scripted and shot and super close up and all the details you'd ever want to know. I think was it the one about rams was like an hour or so long. Yeah, so once I've got a base understanding of how most things work in an aquarium, and I've got a couple of aquariums set up and they're running, and set up and they're running, and everything's going okay in them, it's like, right, I know the basics now. I know roughly what I'm doing. So it's only if it's something, the next step kind of thing, where I'll start watching videos. So I've watched quite a lot of cycling videos, not recently, because now I've got the bike. I don't need to research bikes, do I? Ooh, pardon me. And if I was going to go saltwater, I'd watch a whole heap of saltwater videos. Probably starting out with Fisher and Fever. As I know, he did a series on saltwater for beginners. Mike from Fish Tank Barn. No, I'd start out with the people I know, because then if I've got dumb questions, I'm more willing to ask someone I know the dumb question than I am someone I don't know. So if it's someone I know, then I'll know where it's coming from and Whereas someone that don't know, they're, oh, you idiot. Yeah, so I'll watch things to support people. And as I say, I watch your vids, Jeff. I mean, apologies for not necessarily leaving comments and stuff, but I do watch them through the Xbox on the TV, so you can't leave a comment, and then I'm old and forgetful, and I don't then necessarily remember to go back into the video on my tablet or my phone and leave the comment. I say, so yeah, I watch to support people, and the creators I enjoy watching are because I enjoy the person, not necessarily the content, if that makes sense. Now, I've got no interest in trampolining, but for some reason I will quite happily watch buxom women in bikini trampolines. No, they're not. They're not crap, Jeff. They're your videos in your style and your way of doing it. Just because it might not be what people want. And for some reason, people seem to think YouTube videos are the equal of TV, like with production and company, a team of people behind it. Like the cameraman, the sound man, the editor, the producer. A lot of people don't actually realise that probably over 95% of the videos on YouTube are done by one person with no script and barely any idea what they're going to talk about. I think a lot of it is the way the algorithm works. And the first thing it will do is show you the big channels. And if you want to find out about something in particular, you then have to search for it, and then you find all the smaller channels, some of which I will admit aren't that great. And there are a lot of fish videos, as I'm sure you've all probably found, where it's you put in the name of the species, and then you go blah blah blah, and it's like, oh, a 15-minute video on them, cool, I'll watch that. Click, and it's literally just a camera set up in front of a tank, and there's no speech or anything. It's just, and I'm not knocking, because if you just want someone to put on in the background that looks pretty, then great. If you're trying to learn, then you don't. Posted in Palm Springs, picture of Bob drowning. Oh dear. Bob absolutely surrounded by putty cats. Getting a well, he is so suave. Yeah, I mean, I do understand that some people don't want to either be seen in their videos or speak in their videos. Mandy did, Zen Ginger did an awesome video about glowfish. But because she doesn't want to be seen in the video or speak in the videos, it took her a lot longer to make, because she had to go through editing in and like typing everything out that she could have said. But yeah, I completely get that you might not want to have your face or your voice. And I'm sure most of these people are worrying because, I've got awful voice, I might say the wrong thing, or people might make fun of my accent. I can manage it, anyone can. 240 tea bags done, 245. Cool dear. If you go through any more tea bags than that, we're going to start calling you English. Yeah, I mean, I get that some people are like that, either anxious or nervous, or I mean, I got lucky, I suppose, in that my first experiences of it, even though you might go over what, what's wrong with a bloody kettle? Yeah, as long as it's not in Boston. We don't mind tea parties as long as they're not in Boston. God, bring back the days when Americans would have a massive revolution and start almost a war over not having tea. Sorry, but getting political again. Yeah, so I got lucky in that I'm from doing talks in high school where you had to stand up in front of your class and speak about a subject of your choice for X amount of minutes. And I was like, yeah, I can do this. That don't bother me. And then ending up on other people's live streams purely by accident at first, I think. And I was like, oh, I'm on YouTube. Oh, mind your P's and Q's. And don't swear. We're in someone else's video, so go back out a shot if we're going to have a cigarette, so other people don't see it, and they might get demonetized if someone's smoking, which doesn't happen, by the way. Ooh, especially not on smaller channels, because let's be honest, YouTube's got better things to do. And then I started doing my own videos, and it was like, yeah, I can talk to myself. And it's like, then someone basically, oh, you should do a video about that because you know what you're talking about and you're good at it. I was like, okay, here we go. What worse things done on YouTube than smoking? Yes. And I don't exactly glamorize it, do I? Yeah, take up smoking. You can be cool like me. You too can be fat and unfit with bad lungs. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's something to do with my hands, so I don't start doing other things. And at the moment, as I'm trying to lose weight, giving up smoking would be a really bad idea because I would eat more. Although, ironically, I'm not actually losing any weight. I'm losing fat, but I'm not losing weight, which is kind of annoying. Basically, the weight's going from here further down, so my legs are getting bigger. It's YouTube. You so silly. But yeah, it's so yeah, and that's pretty much how I got started. Was realised I had like 20 odd subscribers, even though I'd not got any content. I was like, I better make some content, really. So if you scroll way back, my first couple of videos are literally me just using my tablet, my old Samsung Tab 3, it's just sat there and going, basically, yeah, this is what I'm working on this at the moment, this model, this is blah, 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 blah. And that's kind of it. to then actually getting around to getting a. Actually, no, I did one using my ye oldie digital camera, which then obviously anytime you move anything, the autofocus is going off, and it's a mechanical focus on that camera. So all you can hear is as it keeps refocusing itself. And then, as I say, I bought the camcorder that I still use to this day. I quit smoking for a while. I used to justify eating ice cream every day. At least I'm not having a cigarette. £10 later, I started smoking again. And Jeff quit in 2005. Congratulations, Jeff, you quitter. But as I also say, it's the only, that and caffeine are the only vices I have left. Because I don't drink anymore and I don't do drugs. So, yeah. And plus, I may be fooling myself, but I smoke the healthiest thing that I can be smoking. Hand rolled, which is just pure tobacco and a bit of paper, rather than the chemicals that are put into pre-roll or pre-made ones. Cocaine was a great substitute. That's a good way to lose weight. If I still did the drugs, I would probably take some cocaine on a bike ride with me. get the halfway point, or the point where you start flagging, and have something to eat and a quick snort, and away you go. Do the second half of the ride quicker than the first half. Oh, Jeff is cool. You have to be cool to make that moustache look sexy. There's only one other man who's managed that in the history of humankind. That was Tom Selleck. And he had a Ferrari to help him. So that's how cool Jeff is. Exactly. You don't need the Ferrari. And I'm doing hand gestures, realizing you can't actually see my hands. I'm not saying I'm wide, but I'm wider than a 4-foot tank. Dodge does just fine. Exactly. As long as you ain't got corners to go around, you're okay. That's why the Hawaii, the Ferrari worked well, because there's a lot more corners in Hawaii. Or however we're supposed to pronounce it these days, is Hawaii or something like that. Oh, I can't remember. I'm still struggling with Yugoslavia not being a country anymore, or Czechoslovakia. Damn 90s. All them Balkan wars going off. Just when you think you got your geography figured out, they go and create 6 more countries. You bastards. To be fair, in Tom Selleck's case, I think the fact that he was famous and rich probably got him a lot of action. I'm not saying gold diggers have been around since the 70s, but it's just got a bit more out of hand recently. The Alpha Sigma grind set males and big gold diggers since the first warm cave. Yeah, we had the first guy to create fire and went, "Hey ladies, my cave is warm and light." Yeah, it wasn't so we could cook meat or for safety or protection. The real reason man created fire was to get laid. Probably the same with music as well. all the various inventions. It's just everything, just to get more of that sweet boomtang. Yeah, wouldn't be surprised if somewhere there's a cave in France with like Gautier painted on the wall. Or in Italy, there's a cave under the Vatican where it just says Gucci in big gold letters. Evening, my lady. He kind of shows the wrong time. I do apologise. We're not hating on women. Because nobody could ever hate you. There are just as many scumbag males as women. Actually, there's probably more scumbag men than women, let's be honest. A discussion about gold diggers, my lady. And I kind of figured that most inventions happened just so men could get more. Fire, music, cooked food, loincloths. Hey darling, you want to see what's under my cloth? Oh, now thank you for the like. That's another mile I have to cycle this week. Ooh, the way we're going, we're nearly covered going to work and back. We will try. We will miss you, my lady. Have a wonderful week. And smoke one for me. So we have been a bit low on numbers now. I'm wondering if there's someone else streaming at the same time. Possibly. But there we go. Maybe I've upset someone. Up to 9 miles, right? Yep. So we're good. That covers me going to work and back anyway. And there we go. The Fish Fam link calendar. Yes. So back on the old fish tubers, I know there are quite a lot of UK-based fish tubers. Mikey B is streaming right now. That's not a problem. But I don't tend to watch a lot of UK-based fish tube. For some reason it either doesn't come up on my stream or I just don't enjoy the people's personalities. Adele, darling, how did the job interview go? Hopefully it went wonderfully. You certainly look dashing. And I mean, I wouldn't have said no. Weird. I always are weird, trust me. You're basically selling yourself. You're trying to get that person or people sat the other side of the table to go, oh, this person would be really good. Yeah, they sound awesome and amazing. And yeah, I suck at selling myself. My general sense of self-deprecating humour doesn't work well in a job interview where you're trying to make people think you're amazing and awesome, and when your main point of view is I suck. Manager sat there, looked like she was hungover. The assistant asked all the questions and they kept giving each other weird looks. that doesn't give me much confidence. Well, you gave it a go, and as the way I always see it is, you don't get the first job usually. So I don't get my hopes up, and because it's usually a fair while between jobs. It's not something you do every week or every month or whatever. It can be years in between them. So it takes a few goes to get yourself back into the swing of it, and what things to say, what not to say, and remember to clench and don't fart in the interview. Remember to get there early so that you got a chance to not be sweaty and out of breath. And at least put myself out there. Really could have used that job. Well, you did, and I say, if they've not said sorry, no, or contact you yet, say no, thank you, and keep your fingers crossed. You never know, might work out well. And if there's a manager there that's hung over a lot, well, they could do with being replaced. And yes, there is always OnlyFans, and I'm pretty sure Adele will make quite a bit of money. It usually does take a couple of days before you hear anything. I mean, my last two jobs, I got really, I'd say, lucky. This one, I went in for the interview, and I thought, yeah, this is going well. This is going okay. Yeah, but then I've had those interviews where you think it's gone great, and then you either don't hear anything or you're just told, yeah, no, thank you. But yeah, so I was like, yeah, this is going okay. And then my now boss said, yeah, so what size shoes are you? 7. And what size for a t-shirt or polo? Extra large. Oh, righto. He says, oh, sorry. Yeah, you've got the job, by the way. Phew. Hello, Marit, my darling. How are you? Yeah. Love your little draggling that you've just finished. So far, of all my applications, I have one knockback from a hardware store. Yeah, you apply for a certain amount of jobs, and then you only get a percentage of those as interviews, and then you only get fresh out of bed. Ooh. Not because of any illness, I hope, just having a nap. Yeah, why work a 9 to 5 when you can show your butthole to a stranger on the internet for money? Yeah, but Sam, to Adele, you're not a stranger. That's the equivalent of sending a dick pic. And I'm happy enough just to see a lovely lady smile. Yeah, I see. And then the job before that, it was like, I was just come in for a chat. Okay. Oh, I'm sure there's plenty of people who do, Adele. I mean, no one wants to see mine. But yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of people who want to see yours, or wouldn't say no. Trust me, some of the people or some of the ladies I have seen that do things like OnlyFans, you're a 10 in comparison. And I'm not knocking you in any way, Adele. You're lovely and gorgeous. Yeah, Andrew's in Cornwall. Yes, not Cornhole. I am Cornholio. I'm all right, thank you, Mary. You? So I hope you're all well and dandy. And yeah, so yeah, my last two jobs I basically just walked into them. One before that was a bit of a pain. That was Sainsbury's. And one before that, which was Hamilton Acorn, did I start an agency there? Yeah, I think I started on agency and then after 12 weeks got taken on full time. I was there for another 15 years. Had a cold this week, but still like, oh dear. So Mary's coming down with a cold at the moment, so I'll probably get that in a few days. Yes, I decided as a thing going forwards, for every like on a live stream, I will do a mile on my bike that week. Got a funny feeling I will probably be riding more miles when I get likes, but hey, we'll see how it goes. Um, and how's Kitty as well, by the way, Marit? Is Puddy Cat eating now? Or still not doing well? Oh, and before Marit shouts at me, oh, nearly lost him down the back. There we go. The Floof Master is back where he belongs. There he is. The Floofy boy. He was sleeping on my bed last night. I lay down, and then there's the feeling of weight on the end of the bed, and then the circling, and then the curling up in a ball. So I slept very well last night. Actually went 8 hours uninterrupted. Almost unheard of for me. I always sleep better when I've got the floofy boy with me. Yeah. Keeps me all protected and safe. And at least nowadays he doesn't fart in my face anymore. So that's always a bonus. But then if I could still have him passing wind in my face, then I would be perfectly happy to inhale those kitty farts. Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, Sammy. You've not got the cute factor. I mean, you know something's really cute when I've got a bacon and egg sandwich and I end up eating an and egg sandwich because he used to get all the bacon. I haven't slept the full night since I've had dizzy. Yeah, Zach was a good boy. I mean, he might have had the odd late night where he'd like come in at silly o'clock, but no, not empty. There's just the fishies are all on the bottom rather than stuck on the glass. There are fewer fish in there than were, but not a huge amount. And that shows how warm it's been this week. Or yeah, or lately because the levels are a bit low in some of them, but water change day tomorrow, so we'll top them back up again. Wakes me up at 2:30, so without fail. Zach, when he used to go to bed, he went to bed and stayed asleep. Or if he did wake up in the middle of the night and wanted to go out normally, as I say, I got the back door open anyway, so he'd just let himself out and then come back in, and I might wake up and go, what? Oh, it's just you. Back to sleep again. Ginger's been in a couple of times and had a doze, but he tends to like to randomly wake up and start cleaning himself. Usually while leaned right against you, so you can just feel every single movement. One time he even decided to sit right behind my head and start licking his bits. When you can hear the tongue going like that far away from your ear, it's not good. I didn't have the heart to try and move him because he was obviously comfortable and feeling safe and happy. Yes, can't be a putty cat. They're awesome, floofy friends. And they mostly look after themselves as well, really, in my experience. Especially if you're just stealing your neighbour's cat. They pay the vet bills, they pay the food bills, you just get the snuggles. That's win-win in my book. Well worth losing a bit of bacon out of a sandwich, or a bit of the sausage from your sausage and chips, or a bit of gravy off the plate after I've finished. Yeah, well worth it. Even the warm breezes in the face, just for the. Mind you, he snored like a trooper, so he'd snore on the way in and purr on the way out. Very interesting combination of noises. Yeah, so anyway, good luck with the job search, Adele. Hopefully this one works out. I'm assuming you've had enough of your current job, being that you're looking, and I'm assuming with the managers changing and things like that, it's gone even more downhill. Sometimes a change is as good as a rest. And speaking of which, Mary's been getting on well with her second job this week. I'll say she's only doing the 8 hours extra, which is still a fair chunk. That's still a full extra day's work. But yeah, she's quite happy standing there. So standing there for 4 hours, which, given her wobbles, is very good. She's making really awesome progress with that. I'm so proud of her. And yeah, so she's enjoying that, and it's going okay. And it's all above board and everything, and so it's not like it's something a bit dodgy like when she was packing the cards, which was cash in hand at the end of the week, and you're basically a subcontractor rather than an employee. And also, when you worked out the hourly rate for that, that was really bad. I think it worked out to maybe £2 an hour because it's piecework. It's not qualified under the kind of job where you have minimum wage protection. On those ones where they say you should be able to do this many an hour, and yeah, they've got one person at the company who's been doing it for 40 years and can do that many an hour for an hour, but you can't keep it up all day. Yeah, I've had the time and motions person in, and yeah. And plus, this means she hasn't got a house full of boxes of greetings cards and table full of all the stuff she needs to do it, and she can just go in, do her 4 hours, come home and forget about it, which is kind of what work should be like, if you ask me. You go in, you do your job, you come home, you forget about it. It's only management level and above that should have anything to do with work outside of work hours. But hey, what do I know? I'm not the person who owns the business. I probably wouldn't be a good boss, to be honest. Yeah, I probably really wouldn't. I mean, I pay my employees fairly. I give them, you know, what I could, but I'd expect a certain level of effort and work. I mean, I wouldn't expect them to care as much about the profits at the end of the day or the business as I do, because it's not their business. Unlike my last job. Um, I'd at least expect people to come in and put in a shift. And again, I wouldn't ask people to do things that I couldn't or wouldn't do myself. But given some of the jobs I've had in the past, that doesn't really mean as much that I wouldn't or haven't done. And I'm not even sure what I would set up a business in. Perhaps make a full business of breeding and selling fish, but you're never going to make enough money out of that without a huge warehouse full of tanks. And the more tanks you have, the lower the profit levels get, because, yeah. And the last thing you want to be doing after you've done a day running a business selling fish is to get home and deal with fish, as I found from the models. Well, more radio controlled cars at that point. Last thing I wanted to do when I got home after a day working in a model shop, fixing other people's RC cars and selling them and building them, was to do the same with my own. Yeah, even racing got a bit tedious, because it's like, well, if you're going racing once a week or once every couple of weeks and that's it, then yeah, it's still interesting and exciting and fun. But when you're at the track every single day, driving all sorts of cars around the track in all sorts of weather, yeah, there's no, oh, what setup, what tyres, what suspension should I use, what weight distribution, what gearing. You just look at the track layout and you go, oh yeah, that. There we go, that's sorted. It's like, I mean, I'm fairly certain racing drivers after a day's racing don't want to come home and then have to drive the car home and deal with the muppets on the normal roads. You imagine you've been driving a car that driving at 200 mile an hour, and then you've got to drive on normal roads at a speed limit of 60. You're going to feel like you're not moving. Now, even if you're driving a high performance car, you can still only drive to the speed limit. And because when racing drivers do get caught speeding or breaking the laws of the road, oh boy, do they get it in the neck. Not only from their contemporaries, but also their bosses for bringing the company's name into a bad light. Bringing the sport into disrepute, I think, is the charge that some have been up on before. Plenty of footballers have been on that one. Bringing the game into disrepute. Although quite why, when they're out of work, it has any effect, I don't know. But yeah, there we go. But if you're looking for a good race to watch, I yesterday yesterday and today, this morning, in between doing other stuff, I did watch 6 hours of Fuji, which was actually dry and not full of safety cars for a change. It was a very good race. 3 classes of cars on the track at the same time, so always something happening. So, last 10 minutes. Has anyone got any questions? Or comments or queries or anything like that? Anything they would like to see from the channel? No, I'm not doing an OnlyFans, Sam. Or a Patreon. I just can't be bothered with that. I'm not knocking anyone who does have a Patreon, but yeah, I just can't be bothered with it. Got memberships, it's the same thing. Only real difference is I don't get quite so much money every month. Oh, I've got to cycle a mile. Wow. I'll just take the long way home from work one day then. Actually, I say that. It's now dark when I come home from work most days, so maybe not. Oh, 11. Oh, 2 miles. As I'll probably be doing 15 or 20 on Thursday, I think I'm barely covered. I've not figured out anywhere I'm going to ride this week on my day off, but I'll think of something. I'll find somewhere pretty and naturey to go and look at, or old and abandoned or something like that. There'll be something relatively close by. I could even actually, if I cycle to the LFS, that's an 18-mile round trip. Just enjoy being outside, yes. See what wildlife I can see, and whether the weather is decent enough as well. I'll figure something out. I always do. There's always something, but as I say, if no one's got any, get your bike out, Jeff. Haven't done it, haven't ridden it in 4 years. Yes, get yourself out on a little ride. Even if it's just the local coffee shop for a coffee, or wherever your local small convenience store is to get milk or something like that. It's all exercise, it'll all do you good. There's no need to try and set any records or do hundreds of miles or I admit America being bigger and everything being more spaced out, it's a little more awkward because places I would walk, you'd probably have to drive for like a quarter of an hour to get to. So yeah, on a bike it's probably going to be an hour each way, which yeah. But again, if you need a break, don't be afraid to get off and have a sit down and just chill for a bit, or even just get off and push. There's no harm in it. You're still exercising, you're still outdoors, and still having fun is the most important part. I do apologise, but I'm going to cut things slightly short this week. So I'm absolutely bursting for the loo. we get one shot at life. May as well enjoy it while we're here. That's my philosophy. How do, Dusty? Just as I'm about to sign off. Nothing personal, trust me. But as I said, I'm desperate for the loo. And I really would rather not have that kind of puddle on the floor. I don't mind a bit of fish tank water. But anyway, so stay safe, everyone. Have a good week. Get outside, enjoy nature if you can. Have fun. Peace out. Rock on. Bye bye. Sunday shop do 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 do. Sunday shop do 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 do. Monday suck do 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 do. Go Adele do 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 do. Go Adele do 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 do. Go Adele do 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 do. Ah.